There's Something in the Barn shares a lot of thematic elements with the Steven Spielberg-produced Gremlins, highlighting how the core elements that made the latter into a Christmas classic still hold up. There's Something in the Barn is a hilariously absurd horror/comedy, pitting a family of Americans new to Norway against an assortment of elves that reside in the barn next to their new home. The result is a gleefully over-the-top splatterfest as the Nordheim family defends themselves from the vicious little menaces. In concept and practice, it's actually remarkably similar to Gremlins. Released in 1984, Gremlins focuses on the Peltzer family and their friends in Kingston Falls as they face off with a number of vicious gremlins that are terrorizing the town. Both films use these similar stories to create classic alternative Christmas-themed movies, embracing a fusion of horror and comedy to produce a hilarious splatterfest. Their similar critical success suggests that this approach remains an effective genre fusion decades apart, and highlights how much audiences love a good subversive take on a holiday movie. There's Something in the Barn shares several similarities to the Steven Spielberg-produced movie Gremlins. There's Something in the Barn film. The monstrous elves and general tone of There's Something in the Barn shares a number of similarities with the Mogwai and the plot of Gremlins. Both films are grisly takes on the Christmas movie formula, subverting the typically sweet nature of that holiday. Both movies force family units to confront an unexpectedly grim take on a classic creature, with grisly results. In Gremlins, it's the transformed Mogwai who are the primary villains of the Christmas film. In There's Something in the Barn, it's barn elves, who are revealed to be living on the property that the Nordheim family relocates to. Both films embrace this tonal disparity to great comedic effect and undercut classic holiday films with a fair share of creative violence. It's all compounded by the fact that the violence is committed by an outwardly cute-sounding collection of creatures. There's Something in the Barn and Gremlins both embrace a snarky tone that further separates them from other holiday fare. This gives everything a tongue-in-cheek touch that helps the over-the-top violence and mayhem feel more specific than chaotic. While both films have enough unique edges to stand apart, their shared concepts and elements make them an interesting comparison point. How There's Something in the Barn's elves compare to Gremlins' creatures. In many ways, the elves of There's Something in the Barn are very similar to the Mogwai from Gremlins, which eventually morph into their scaly gremlin forms. Both sets of creatures are portrayed as small and realistically grimy takes on fantastical creatures. Their rampages share some distinct similarities, too. Both the Gremlins and the elves prove capable of using human technology for their own goals, and even both utilize a gun at one point in their respective films. Both sets of creatures also operate on a set of rules that are meant to keep them stable. This is a key difference between the films. In Gremlins, the three rules that are broken focus on the care of the creatures. Feeding them after midnight and exposing them to water causes the Mogwai to become fearsome and ferocious gremlins. In There's Something in the Barn, the rules are more rooted in appeasing the creatures to ensure they don't lash out at any humans that encounter them. The elves don't necessarily transform like the Mogwai do, instead simply lashing out as they are disturbed by the humans who move into their territory.